Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Sinead Aherne. Today's top stories: a Waterford TDs once again called for 24/7 cardiac services in the southeast. The number of COVID-19 cases doubled in Waterford last week. And in sport, there are reports that Alan Reynolds is the front runner for the vacant Cork City job. Waterford's Matt Shanahan has again raised the lack of 24/7 cardiac services in the Dáil. The independent deputy wants to know when we'll have equality in the southeast. He named 3 people who needed access to a cath lab in Waterford during weekends.
Last year I spoke about people like Thomas Power, Una McDermott and now Thomas Frisbee, who could not access the cath lab on a weekend and died. Their family, Thomas Frisbee's family, has 3 healthcare workers, and one of whose siblings required access to the cath lab in the past 10 days. And they asked the question, as I asked of you, when are we going to see equality in the southeast for 24/7?
Taoiseach Leo Varadkar says the second cath lab went to tender in September.
The works to the new cath lab are due to commence in the first quarter of the new year. It's expected that it will take about 12 months to build, and then it's anticipated that it can be commissioned and opened and operating in the first half of 2022.
50 people are without jobs in Waterford after 2 discount stores were forced to close last night. The High Court ordered Home Savers in Dungarvan and Tramore to shut because they did not have planning permission. Saoirse Ronayne, store manager in Dungarvan, spoke to Damien Tiernan on Daisha today.
I had to bring staff in one by one yesterday and explain to them that going forward you will not have a job coming into Christmas. That was, for me as well, heart-wrenching. For the staff, the reaction, you can imagine, it was just absolutely heartbreaking all over the store. Very upset staff. A lot of tears, a lot of crying, and now, in fairness to Dungarvan staff, they're a fantastic group of people and they really pulled together and stayed something positive, but underneath it all, absolutely heartbreaking.
The National Public Health Emergency Team has raised strong concerns about the spread of COVID-19 with just over a week until Christmas. Its meeting today will consider some of the latest trends, such as a rise in the 14-day incidence rate and the 5-day average increasing to 339 cases. From tomorrow, inter-county travel restrictions are due to be eased and up to 3 households can meet indoors. Dublin-based GP Ray Wally has seen a recent increase in older patients with COVID symptoms and says people need to keep following the guidelines.
We do know how they're getting it because I gather that 60% of these are through household contacts. So unfortunately, how our nearest and dearest are getting it is from our nearest and dearest. These are not massive clusters we're talking about individuals giving it to individuals. So we need to literally emphasise the basics, and when we're visiting somebody who is close to us, that we need to be keeping our distance and wearing a mask and things like that.
The Taoiseach, Micheál Martin, is restricting his movements after being in contact with French President Emmanuel Macron. He's getting a rapid COVID test with the results expected this afternoon. The number of cases of COVID-19 doubled here in Waterford last week. That's according to the latest epidemiology report by the Health Protection Surveillance Centre. It shows that 58 cases were confirmed in Waterford from the 6th to the 12th of December. That's up from 26 cases the week before. The 7-day incidence rate went from 22.4 to 49.9. The median age of cases in Waterford increased to 39 and was split equally between males and females. There's a push from TDs to keep schools closed for longer after the Christmas break. People Before Profit say they should remain shut for an extra week to help keep a handle on any rise in cases in January. They've also called for tomorrow to be the last school day to give students more time to restrict movements before seeing loved ones. TD Breed Smith says it's about easing as much pressure as possible on the hospital system.
Absolutely about buying time, but also about showing that, as we've seen, as we speak, and if you listen to the radio, more and more evidence is coming through of the level of infections in schools, and it's about keeping kids safe as well as keeping their families safe.
The first vaccinations could happen in Ireland between the 27th and 29th of December. The European Medicines Agency will meet on Monday to approve the Pfizer vaccine. A nursing home in Waterford is hoping to be one of the first to receive the vaccine. Killorbridge Nursing Home has 79 residents and 74 staff. Mary Burke is Director of Care.
The vaccine hopefully will hit the nursing homes early January. The plan is to have all nursing home residents and staff vaccinated by the end of February.
Okay.
There's over 590 nursing homes in Ireland, so it's a big task, and it's a huge job on the HSE and on the nursing homes to ensure that it's delivered safely and effectively. We're hoping to be one of the first nursing homes to receive it. We're hoping that it should be here in the next 2 weeks.
The European Union's chief negotiator says there's been good progress in post-Brexit trade deal talks and they're in the final stretch. But Michel Barnier says last stumbling blocks remain, as our political correspondent Sean Defoe reports.
It's the last day before the Christmas break for TDs, but also MPs in the House of Commons, and there isn't a massive expectation of a long break on either side of the Irish Sea, with Brexit being the big reason. British MPs are on standby to return to London if there is a Brexit deal, and today there was some positivity, with the EU's negotiator Michel Barnier saying good progress had been made. British Minister Michael Gove says every effort will be made to get this done.
Intensive talks are ongoing, with both negotiating teams working day and night to reach a deal. We're going the extra mile and continuing the negotiations to see whether an agreement can be reached. And we will, of course, continue to keep Parliament informed on our progress.
Hopes have been rekindled that the deal can be reached before the end of the year, even if few politicians thought they'd be asking for a Brexit trade deal for Christmas. Sean Defoe, Leinster House.
A Waterford councillor is calling for homeless services to be made available in the west of the county. At present, those who need to present as homeless must do so in Waterford City. Sinn Féin's Conor McGuinness explains what sort of support he thinks should be provided.
What I'd like to see in Dungarvan and West Waterford is that they would be available, that people could drop in, they could present as homeless, they could access support such as the HAP Place Finder that helps people who are really struggling to find a HAP accommodation, that provides a level of support that on a case-by-case basis can grant an increase in the HAP threshold. That's what I'd like to see, that people can access those services on a drop-in basis or by an appointment basis in Dungarvan without having to travel.
The organiser of the WLR Christmas Appeal says they're blown away by the generosity of the people of Waterford. €21,000 has been raised so far for the St Vincent de Paul locally. Appeal coordinator Sarah Jane says it's been a very difficult year for the SVP.
Hundreds of their shops closed. No church collections. It has drastic effects on their fundraising ability. And even for ourselves, for the appeal, it was a whole new appeal at the start when we set out events and we had virtual coffee mornings. But then you're amazed because 3,500 was raised on the virtual coffee mornings, which is unbelievable. And you've Mark White at 15,000. So the generosity of people has just been fantastic.
Make the smart play with Virgin Media. Check out their smart home packages at Virgin Media George's Street, Waterford.
Sponsors of the sports news on WLR.
Starting with soccer, where there are reports that Alan Reynolds is the front-runner to become Cork City's next manager. The former Waterford FC boss was recently appointed as Shelbourne's assistant manager. The Irish Examiner reports Reynolds is tipped for the hot seat with City. They were relegated from the top flight this year. Waterford native Jim Goodwin says he's delighted to have a Scottish Cup semi-final to look forward to. His side St Mirren pulled off a shock 3-2 victory over favourites Rangers last night. The manager says they defied the odds.
Rangers are a fantastic team. They're in great form. Prior to tonight, I think they were 27 games unbeaten. So, for us to be the team that puts a stop to that was remarkable, really. And full credit must go to the players for just their work rate, their effort, and the goals that they managed to get.
Manchester United are in Premier League action tonight against bottom side Sheffield United, who are yet to win this season. Kick-off at Bramall Lane is at 8. Before that at 6, Aston Villa take on Burnley, who can move out of the relegation zone with a win or a draw. In rugby, World Rugby and the Unions of England and Wales have confirmed they've received a letter of claim from a law firm representing 9 retired players. It's alleged the organisation failed to protect them from the risk of concussion-related injuries. The law firms representing the group says more than 100 players have come forward. England's 2003 World Cup winner Steve Thompson revealed last week he's suffering from early onset dementia at the age of 42. In Gaelic games, the Waterford GAA annual convention will be held online tonight. The County Board have recorded the loss of €216,000 in their 2020 accounts due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Gate receipts on club championship games fell by almost 236,000. The position of the development officer will be contested contested by Owen Morrissey from Erin's Own and Conor Mulcahy from Balnamila. In racing, Horse Racing Ireland has announced 4 additional fixtures to be held at Dundalk early in 2021. The extra meetings will be added to the first 2 months of the 2021 fixture list to cope with the recent high levels of entries at the track. The extra meetings will be held on Monday, January 11th, Wednesday, January 20th, Monday, February 1st and Wednesday, February 17th. Sports news on WLR is thanks to Virgin Media Waterford. WLR asks you to double your efforts to reduce the spread of COVID-19 in Waterford.